Good morning and welcome to the WellMed Charitable Foundation Caregiver Teleconnection series. Today we have brain health for older adults with Dr. Nestor Praderio. And I just want to tell you, he's a geropsychiatrist, and there are only like 4,000 in the entire country. And I did a little really bad math because I'm not a mathematician, but I think basically for the 30 million older adults that are in the United States, that means that there is a geriatrician for every 7,500 older adults. I'm sure that that's not enough. So we're very pleased to have Dr. Praderio with us, and we're very excited to hear about brain health since a lot of us are older. Thank you, Dr. Praderio. So lovely to have you here today.
Thank you, Evelyn. Like always, glad to be here. And let's work. We have a presentation. This is not extensive. We thought about this because the aging curve in United States is reaching an extensive number of geriatric population on the top. And is one of the risk factors to develop dementia, a disorder that we frequently talk in our presentation. But instead of talking about disease today, we will do the best to see if we learn about how to protect our brain and to move from there and then to have questions. If we think about the importance of the organ of the brain, we love immensely with our heart, including our Valentines, but few individuals talk about the importance of the brain, the one who rules completely the life stage. The one this is the patron, the one who control and regulate any other functions around, regardless of the importance of each one of the systems on the body. And the brain is about a little over 1 pound in weight, and is very well protected inside the skull in order to prevent traumatic event. Regardless, sometimes under different circumstances, traumas may occur. But the most traumatic event occur in the inside of the cephalian mass by stroke, aneurysm, development of different disease, Parkinson, dementias of different characteristics. But this is the brain, the importance of the brain. John F. Kennedy is the one who said that the time to fix the roof is when the sun is shining, and apply very well to us. The time to talk brain health is not when you have a diagnosis of dementia and you say, wow, now I have to take care of my brain. Well, to take care of the brain is today. This afternoon, we start taking care of our brain. And this is what we need to do. Take into consideration the malleability that our brain have in adjusting to circumstances. It's not rigid. It's not moving by a specific rule. The brain is ready to gain and to lose activity, functions, and knowledge. The brain change remarkable during our life since childhood, in adolescent, to adult in elder circumstance, the change occur. And remember that the IQ, the intellectual quotient, and the intelligence are not fixed numeral values. Well, when I was 20, I test and I have an IQ of 140. Doesn't mean there's a 55. You probably decrease or maybe increase some point. But there is no rigidity and fixations in brain activity. And the development of intelligence is based specifically in what is coming to us. The stimulating environments are very important because it's how we acquire the ability to distinguish figures, to see elements. The most important to start learning the tridimensional space in front of us. Then later on in life, when individuals get a little more tunnelized, and we describe as a visual spatial difficulties. But when we are children, we start looking at objects and knowing that they are not just a plain, flat figure. If not that they have form, that they have color, that they have sound, that we can touch it, and that they have texture. And all of those are developmental stages for the brain. The nutrition, this we will talk later on a little, very important, very, very important. And we discovered on the last 20 years, the nutritional factors are associated as a risk factor for the development of dementia. Therefore, why we are not going to take care appropriately of nutrition in order to develop our brain. And exercise. This involves a parameter of multiple things. It's not just to walk every evening or to run or to go to the gym. It's to think. It's to explore your knowledge. Is to discuss your knowledge, is to elaborate about issues. Any mechanism of work in integrating your brain is an exercise, and all of them are very important for the development of the brain. I'm sorry. Nature versus nurture. Approximately 52% of the intelligence is inherited through genetic. Therefore, we may have a super bright daddy and mom, very intelligent, but we are not going to inherit 100% of them. These are the numbers that approximately belong to the component of receiving from your family. The rest, 48 to 50, is derived from the environment. And please pay attention, is derived by what we do to develop our brain. And it's very important because if you remember sometime when we were talking about high education as a preventive measure in dementia, I was talking about this component. This is the one that you boost knowledge and intelligence through performance. And then in the latest year of life, help you to decline slowly compared with others, even during the process of dementia. This is what we have to understand. Very, very sure. Now, let's talk a little about the neuroenhancing environment. How we create it, or how we dedicate time in building this network for us. Because it's important, it's very important, it's a form of life. And you say, well, I will keep my bicep in good condition because I exercise, because I have enough protein, because once in a while I variate a little the lifting weight. But the neuro-enhancing environment to support us in development is multiple faceted and complex. It's very complex. You cannot say, well, just reading a magazine will be the most important part. What is important is that we don't have to buy what we don't like. And what is important is that we can control the information of what we have in front of us. And we can research, and we can ask, and we can compare. Because if we learn and then treating the explorative mechanism through your learning, you just have more value. And one of the most important decisions we can make in our own life and in the life of others close to us regarding the informational environment that we help to co-create. Because honestly, if you and another person think about neuroenhancing context environment, we will have a nice conversation. We will enjoy happy hour. Nobody is taking away the happy hour. But the content of the conversation, the time spending, the happiness of the moment, the stimulation that may occur with the conversation, make the neuroenhancing environment. And that's what we call neuroenhancing environment at the concert hall, at the high-level educational university and center for study, the Ivory Tower, the city street. How can you have a neuroenhancing environment without sensing the power of the dirt when you play soccer? How can you grow and boost your being if you don't hurt a lot when you fell and your knee is sore, scratch? And your mother, on top of all of the attention and empathy, say that we need to clean it. And she cleaned it with alcohol. And all of them together make neuro engagement and give you fit for your development. The playgrounds, the digital mediums later on, to a point that sometimes we consider that there is a overwhelming amount of digital medium canceling other opportunity. But the most important thing is the art of finding yourself. Is when you slowly sense that you are growing with some fear, some apprehension, with certain degree of instability about what is coming ahead of us. But at the same time, we can get quiet for a while. We can talk to a friend. We can just listen to some music. And this is the time that you are building the contour of your neuro self. This is the time that you are accommodating the part of what is going to be your neuroenhancing mechanism. There is some stages in which we need to pay attention what's happening in America. There are demographic change creating an urgent need, longer lifespan and aging baby boomers. By 2030, older adult will account for 20% of USA population. Did you hear that? Evelyn was talking, well, she made a comment at the beginning of today, referring about the number of elderly population in our country and the availability of geriatric psychiatrists. And in here, look this in just few years ahead. 20% of our population is going to be older adult with a remarkable increased risk factor to develop neurological disorder. Chronic condition present a strong economic incentive for action.
Mm-hmm.
If honestly, you are less empathic or you are less dedicated to caring by heart, at least look at the economic incentive in order to see what can be done in providing quality of care to the individuals and accommodating the system. Let's go and look at some of the indicators. Health status indicator. We need to be careful with physically unhealthy days. Some of the chronic medical conditions increase the number of physically unhealthy days. Remember, this we talk very little, but chronic mental conditions increase unhealthy days. Stress. This is something that is occur with frequency and we didn't manage always appropriately is another factor. Oral health. It's incredible the amount of tooth retention with chronic infections in gums and mouth. Disability is an indicator. Physical activity, obesity, smoking. Think this we need to take into consideration. Indicators are taking medication for high blood pressure, is to request and ask and make suggestions about flu vaccine in past year. We have pneumonia vaccine. We don't know exactly what will be the recommendation regarding incoming COVID shot. But on the meantime, we appear that we are moving toward a situation in which one maybe COVID is slowly transforming in a seasonal disease with more repercussion during the winter's month. We need to be sure about the follow-up for mammograms. And trying to keep your brain young. Minimize stress is easy to say, but more difficult to practice. There are many stressors around. Mental aerobic is very important. It's very important to do some exercise to build your memory skill. Be sure to exercise for memory skill. You don't need to be sitting with a book. You can do it when you drive to work. You can invent your own exercise, reminding, think, and calculate it in the time. In 10 minutes, I will be in front of the big sign of McDonald's. Nobody can move the sign of McDonald's. Nobody can move you out of your car. But if in around 10 minutes you are not in front of the sign, you will need to learn a little more about speed and calculation. They are all memory skills, all. A healthy brain diet, and we will discuss briefly. A lifestyle that protects your brain is very important. Wise up about medications because they have side effects, and many of them with side effect deteriorate brain function. And like I said before, define who you are and where do you want to go. Set up expectations. These are going to be the one that will make you to be happy with yourself. Do not set up expectations that are out of control and that you won't be able to obtain, because create stress and disillusion. Exercise. Prepare, think ahead, giving you the ability to monitor closely. Take a respite. Remember, recess is not just for the kid, it's for you too. And use it appropriately, and it's good. Relax, this won't hurt. Cut back on caffeine. Wow. Cut back on caffeine. It's a clear reminder to my over-caffeinated life. And then I found a paper, 2 papers on the last 2 years from Europe, and saying appeared that the consumption of caffeine is in certain form of preventing thing for the developing of dementia. And I feel like I go back to Starbucks. I am running back to Starbucks. But in general, decrease the consumption of caffeine because it creates more hyperactivity and stress. Get enough sleep and talk. continue from the beginning with what we say. Just talk. Listening to music. That was the creation of the Mozart effect. And there are many articles about this. Well, at the beginning is a sense of peace and relaxing and calming down of the brain, to the point that years later, other people exploring the Mozart effect. They were able to write paper and saying there was opening some channels of old memory and facilitating the flow of new memory. It's important. Music is important. Cross-train your brain. You can train your brain to think and to be analytic. And at the same time, you drive back home and you train your brain to be a person who will love to accumulate some history, or that you will like to mix yourself with nature. And you, using those mechanisms, you train your brain. Training your brain doesn't mean that you have to end up with a headache with brain training. How about brain workout? And those are the ones done with creativity. Brain workouts is to develop a project. More important is to discuss the project. And more important is to defend your project. And remember, there are left and right brain functions. The more right brain functions are artistic in content. Music is a wonderful food for the brain. Art, poetry, and there are some applications that you can use on the phone to do some exercise. Brainy Up is one of them. How you build your memory skill? Well, you organize. It's important to create an skeleton where you are going later on to deposit information and memory. It's important to have an organization. This is what gets lost, specifically when psychosis occur and the puzzle get all separated. Remembering name and faces. And you can use kind of a style of the Roman rune method. You can read about the Roman rune and which one is the association of a space with something latent or something alive with. Therefore, the attachment helps the memory. But it's very, very important to have an organized style. A little of how we eat, calorie count to healthier brain. Don't enter the yo-yo syndrome because it's deteriorating for the brain and for the body in general. And the yo-yo syndrome is when you lose 30 pounds and you are happy, and 2 months later you gain 35 pounds and you are not happy. and then 2 months later you start another diet and you lose 10, and then you gain 20. Good fat versus bad fat. Touch of the day is very important, once or twice a week to eat fish. Look for those that are not really greasy fish. Antioxidants, brain food, spice it up, and vitamin and mineral. Very important. Eating smart, blueberries. The wild salmon is one of the fish who have the lowest amount of unsaturated fat. Nut and seed, avocados, whole grain, spinach and beans, broccoli and pumpkin, orange and soy. All of those are smart eating. Well, a little lifestyle, physical exercise, and brain fitness. Watch your head is very important. Watch your head is, don't bump it. We like to play this. Be careful. Watch your head. Say no to smoking. Watch your head is, think the alcohol can damage. Therefore, how much is too much? Be careful. Memory effect of recreational drug. Be careful. Some of them have serious negative impact. And other lifestyle pitfalls, these are not necessary. We always compensate physical illness. You cannot have a healthy brain if you have a sugar of 400, if your diabetes is uncontrolled, if your high blood pressure is daily, if you cannot control your cholesterol. And pay attention to the business of anti-aging. Any place that you go, you find containers with pill, with liquid, with powder, all anti-aging things that they are selling to you. The majority of them, we don't know what they are. Even if we read the component, more than half of them, we don't even have an idea what it is. And people take it and they continue taking them. And they come over here, and I am not really sure what to tell them because I don't have the direct knowledge of what they are to say to one of my patients, don't take it. I don't know what conflict may have with the medication that I prescribe to my patient. And I don't even know how they metabolize at the level of the liver with the medication versus the anti-aging agent and how does work. Be careful because they are selling things that doesn't make any sense. When we say how we define our role, through education, giving a space to our artistic mind, understanding ourselves and others. If we don't understand others, we are not giving feedback to one person, and at the same time, social integration. Very, very important. This is short. I will give it to you in 1 minute. I did it about 10 years ago. I feel really bad that this project didn't move ahead. But here, sitting in Corpus Christi, I make a proposal to create a senior health project. Well, why senior? Because exactly as the population that we are dealing in, the one that we will have a lack of resources. And I'd say at planning and development, to make your vision a reality, you need a solid course of action. And I was thinking about to get the right partner to share my vision. And I like Corpus, and I think I found partnership that has been very healthy and productive. City of Corpus Christi, AAA, Adult Protective Service, many other institutions. I am very satisfied because we were able to share and produce. And I was looking for one that can apply the power of the resources and the experience, because expertise plus experience is more of a definition of success. Then I say this: I will establish clear project scope. I will define the partnership. I will discuss an initial hypothesis, what I want to do. I will outline the task, always maintain clear communication and feedback, and consistently review your plan. And we will have a project management, one collecting baseline data and assessing the need in your community, meeting for the planning, implementing and monitoring. Between the managers and the implementation and monitoring, you can use similar people. And at the end of your project, you cannot go and say, I am successful, if you don't show that you are successful. Well, the target service, I wasn't dreaming this, I will buy you a new air conditioner, pay education, alertness, support, physical and mental health support, evaluation of blood pressure, nutrition, depression and memory screen, telepsychiatry to the distance when necessary, the respite that we already have in place, socialization, develop our mind and thinking about future housing and employment, and community integration event. Honestly, I struggled for a while at the beginning because people were 100% in agreement, but it's like fishing. Or you fish or you got bait. And I was fishing and everybody want to bite, but nobody bite. And I end up cutting bait and the project never took place. Conclusion? There is no doubt that a key to healthy aging is a healthy lifetime. And like a John Kennedy said, well before the roof is leaking. It's never too late to make healthy lifestyle choices. If you hear me today and you are 55 and you say, oh, my time is over, I won't change anything. No, it's never too late. There is not quick fix for a healthy brain. There is no quick fix. It's chronic, it's deteriorating. And again, my little pitch, anti-aging therapy do not live up to the claim. Don't get your head this big because they sell you a little power with a new name. This is going to protect your brain. With motivation, energy, and knowledge, you can carve a future that is fulfilling and invigorating. You can do it. It's very important. Education is very important. Consistency is very important. Definition of yourself. Remember the contour of your neuro self. Not just pumping muscle and it's from here down. Well, it is from here up too. And honestly, this is what, in certain form, help you to define who you are. Well, Evelyn, Elsa, Marianne, everybody around helping me. I will be very happy to answer questions and to hear some of your experience with all of this.
Well, thank you for that. I learned a lot, as always, from you and from other presenters. And I can, if you don't mind, I'd like to add one thing that I read a couple of years ago when you talked about the social integration, that there was some research maybe 2 years ago that said isolation in older adults is as bad for your health as 7 cigarettes a day or being morbidly obese.
Very good.
And I think, we need to, if you're talking about brain health, these are things, you can't be isolated, you can't be smoking, you can't be, eating too much. They're all things that kind of mesh together to try to help us with our brain health.
Yeah, very right, Evelyn. Isolation or lack of being integrated to a group, to someone close to you, to someone who can hear what you have to say, or you participate with them in some activity is very impacting. And a good example, Evelyn, what happened with isolation has been what happened with the COVID pandemic. Look at what it left behind. Look at how destructive emotionally was the pandemic and the separation from contact and the inability to be close to others. Therefore, very, very important.
And just a couple days ago, there was an article in the paper that said only 40% of adults in the United States have a best friend.
Interesting, eh? Very interesting. Where do we go? Nice point to conversation.
Yes.
Why? I mean, cross my mind. There is a problem of stress and inability to take time. There is a matter of trust and engagement. There is a society in which one becomes partially superficial and appear not to accommodate or need. I mean, wonderful subject of conversation, but it's an impacting number, very, very high number.
When we have to set our priorities.
Yeah.
So folks, the doctor is willing to take your questions and comments, your experiences. Please share how you feel about this, what you do to take care of yourself. Give us some more ideas. We would love that. It always helps our podcast be more interesting, and because caregivers know other caregivers, so well. And you may be in the same position as somebody who's on the phone with us today, and we would love to have your input. Mark?
Hi.
Hi.
Dr. Praderio, you had an interesting comment on 52% of intelligence is inherent through genetics. So if you, as the bloodline goes on, does that number go lower?
Well, I think 52, and don't take it, Mark, as a very rigid number.
No. Yes.
50, 51, 52 is kind of the ceiling of what you can get from mom and dad. Don't sit waiting for 80% because they were very intelligent, because it's approximately the inheritance level. Now, if mom and dad has been running short, you may get less, Mark. you may get less than 52, no doubt. And the same happened, Mark, with the number that we build. If we don't enhance, if we don't push, and if we don't work to develop circles of neuron, we are not going to catch up with 48, 49, or 50% on the other side. If we just sit, we sit with a low number. Remember when I was sharing with you about my little comparative reminder, this: imagine your brain as a Christmas tree. And then we will add different set of light to the tree. If you add one set is one, you buy a second is university education, you buy a third set is a PhD degree, and the brain is adding both of light. And when a deteriorating disease like Alzheimer's is killing each one of them, the most bulb that you have on will be helpful, because as a residual thing will be less rapid deterioration than the one uneducated. And when we think about risk factor, uneducated, single, never married, rural, growing up versus city, those are risk factors that increment developing of dementia. And therefore, to care for the brain and to pamper it up is very important, very, very important.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Mark,
Thank you, Mark.
by the way, Mark, I don't want to make this extensive, but my deepest condolence for what happened to your mom.
Thank you, Dr. Praderio.
And
Thank you very much.
Our heart with you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Do we have any other folks who would like to talk to us? We've got Dr. Praderio waiting for your input. You know, those percentages that Mark asked about, I've heard the same kind of thing said about your health, not just your mental health, but your general health, that you get, you know, maybe half of it is the genetics, you know, if you have heart disease or hypertension or something, you know, that's from your parents. And the other half is from how you've lived that lifestyle. It's your environment. You think that's true?
Yes. Basically, that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I'm sure this Marianne will. Let me see if I have any other question in here. No. Marianne will share with you some information, some of incoming events that we have. And I will thanks all of you for the participation today. And I will continue with my day. It was a very pleasant, nice time spent together. And I will see you quick and some other event that we have programmed for. Thank you
so much, Dr. Praderio. You're always, you know, so practical, and you know older people so well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Mary Ann, I need to do a little housekeeping after you talk, but go right ahead.
Okay, well, first of all, since most of the people on the line are not local, I'm going to start with the next time we'll be hearing Dr. Praderio talk for the face-to-face. He does a session on the September 27th. That's going to be via Zoom. And if you'd like to join us for that, you can call 361-826-2343 and you can join. You can join us. It's at 5:00 p.m.
And what's
And
that
then-
about? What's it about?
That's the support group Dr. Praderio does on the phone.
Oh,
It's a Zoom
support.
session.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he does it the fourth Wednesday of every month. So this month it's going to be on the 27th and it's at 5 p.m. And we don't send out the Zoom link until people have registered, so they can call the office, the 361-826-2343 to get the Zoom link. And then if anybody's able to come to Corpus Christi, we'd have our family and friends caregiver conference. The festival is being called together again. We have not had one since COVID in person.
Wow.
So we look forward to that. That is next Wednesday, September 20th, 10 to 4:30. What it is we have different keynote speakers. I can send you the flyer, Evelyn, if you want to. If anybody wants it, they can just call it. They can just call, or you can send it out to them. And then that is going to be at the university, Texas A&M University. It's from 8 to 3:15, and at 3:15 we start the festival. Dr. Praderio likes to do a caregiver festival, so he gives back to the community. We'll be having a DJ this year, and that starts at 3:15 to 4:30. So it's an all-day event. We have a nice lunch for everybody. So anybody that can join us, that's in the Corpus Christi area, please join us. And then last of all, we have our Walk for Memory that's going to be on November 4th. And we'll be sending out the details for that.
Okay, Marianne, if you want to send actually to Minerva both of those promotional pieces that you talked about, we can get those out with our post-session questionnaire today. I'll also be sending out your phone number for that support group in case somebody didn't get that. And I so appreciate your support in helping us, really streamline the sessions with Dr. Praderio and everything else that you do as a kid.
We so appreciate him. He does so much for us. He does so much for our for the caregiver SOS. We also do have on the third Tuesday of the month. We're not going to have it this month because of the festival, but in October, for those people that are in the viewing session, he also does a time of reflection for us, which is a very up close and personal support group that he does for our family caregivers here in Corpus and the surrounding areas. That one is not available via Zoom, but if anybody, like I said, if anybody's in our area, please join us. The same phone number, 361-826-2343, and they are welcome to join us in person.
Wow, Corpus Christi is pretty well served by you guys.
Yes, we are very lucky that he comes in person and talks to the family caregivers, and we are all very appreciative of him.
Great. All right, folks, I'm going to do a little bit of just cleanup here. That post-session questionnaire that I talked about, you'll be getting that in a couple of days. And that will have with it the resources that I talked about from Mary Ann, and also I'll have her phone number on there in case you didn't get it. However, if you're not registered for today, if somebody gave you the link or the phone number, then you won't get it. So please call our customer service representative at 866-390-6491. And that's Minerva, and she will get you signed up. And what you will get is not just those resources, but you'll also get the monthly calendar, which is pretty fabulous. I've got a few things I want to tell you about that are coming up. We have 10 more sessions this month. We have Ask Dr. Tam, and that's this afternoon, and she is an expert in dementia. And these have been very popular because people come up with questions, and she really has the ability because she's dealt with dementia for so long to really, figure out how to help people out. We next on Thursday, we have toileting, incontinence, and dementia, and what you need to know with dear Lucy. On Tuesday of next week, disaster preparedness with Dr. Elliot Sklar and dear Lucy. And then next Thursday, healthy brain and healthy aging with Dr. Natalie Oliver. It'll be sort of a follow-up today from the sounds of it. And then next Friday, there will be a talk on basic concepts of Medicare, and that will be in Spanish. And I think Minerva put something up on the chat box about that for you. On the 26th, we'll have understanding and managing behavioral symptoms with Lewy body dementia. On the 28th, we'll have moving away from codependency with Dr. Jamie Heisman. And then we've got a series that's engaging caregivers. And on Wednesday tomorrow, we will have, it's Wednesday tomorrow? Yeah, I guess Wednesday is tomorrow. We'll have difficult situations and elder abuse and how to deal with it. And then on the 20th, we'll have diversity in caregiving. And those are put on by our special guest speakers, Elliot Montgomery Sklar, PhD, and Lucy Boyerlack, MSW. And with that, I just want to thank you all so much for sticking with us here, for really listening to this incredible geropsychiatrist that we have who comes and talks to us. And also, I would like to thank him again, just for the sake of the podcast. Please tell him, Mary Ann, he's always so incredible and does such a nice job in preparation. And I want to thank every one of the caregivers, and some of them have left us already, but I want to thank you so much for being here today and making this a special presentation. So with that, I'm going to close down the recording, and I'm going to thank you all for what you do every day. And
Thank you, Evelyn. We appreciate it.
We wish you all a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.